Since my first video of this gun, I've added 4 pieces of kit, I've caught something on fire, and I learned something about night shooting that I didn't know. Here's the full details. So before I get into the full overview of how this pistol is put together at this point, one of the brands on here made a really bold claim, and frankly, I don't think it held up, and stay tuned, you can learn a lot about that, all right? And you can see it too. So as a reminder, if you do not know, this is the I've been told it's Vector. VKTR to me is Victor. I'm gonna stand on that one. This is the Victor Industries VK-1 11.5-inch piston-driven AR-15 pistol. I really love this pistol, and one of the reasons I love it is because I'm over 500 rounds, and I know you're probably like, dude, that's like barely breaking it in, and it is, you're not wrong, but I'm sort of documenting the journey by which I'm getting this thing to where I want it to be. But the really cool thing, and that I love the most about this, is that frankly, this thing has run so well since the very first time I pulled the trigger that I have nothing to say about it. Like literally, this is gonna be a here's the accessories I've changed video because the VK-1 just runs. So if you only came here for that, I've had no issues. I'm gonna tell you some things I love about the way it performs, but it is running flawlessly. It is an extremely awesome setup, and I really, really, really like it. Just as a reminder, in the first video, we'll slap some B-roll up here, but I had the Raid on the rail, I had some plastic rail covers, and I had the remote switch, and I did not have a sling, and I did not have the magnifier. So you've seen a few iterations of this build, and some of the, like the night footage here, and then some of the range footage is going to show different progressions of this build through the last number of months. So you can kind of follow along in my journey in the footage as well as what I'm going to tell you that I have done. Because this VK-1 has been so solid, I was able to put all my effort into just optimizing the accessories to be exactly what I wanted it to be. And if you do not know this from any other videos of mine on this topic, this is my homestead defense pistol. This is what I grabbed to run out the door with my dog to go chase coyotes that are trying to eat my chickens, ducks, and turkeys. So it's extremely important that it runs well and reliably. And as I have already stated, it has done nothing but that, and that thrills me. So let's get into the details here. First thing that I did was I added the Sentry strap and the Magpul Light sling. I got both of those from the Neo Mag. I didn't really do a full video on the Sentry strap. It's just a really basic strap that holds the sling in place. It stows it when you are not using it. You're gonna see in the footage here, I will deploy it at least once or twice, and you're gonna see me, how that works. But it's super easy, super foolproof, nothing crazy there. And the next thing you're gonna see that I added is the Neo Mag's rigs system. That's the rail covers, the hand stop, and the light bar. I have a full video on that already published. You can check that out. It's linked at the end of this video. So when you get done with this one, go watch that one, please. And then I added the Holosun HM3XT magnifier, because the AEMS Pro with its, just 1x zoom, it doesn't have zoom, right? Frankly, just was not enough for some longer range stuff. And one of the situations I was on a coyote in, it was at about 100 yards, and I frankly could not identify, I could see the coyote, but I could not identify which part of his body I was pointing at, and I could not also see behind him to see if there was a clear shot, because I know my neighbor's house is in that general kind of direction. So I didn't take the shot. Magnifier would have probably at least helped me definitively know this is a dangerous shot or this is a good shot and I can take it. If you want more content like this, honest reviews and no sponsorships, go ahead and subscribe now so that you get notified next time I upload a video. Thank you. All right, let's talk about the why behind the things I added here. We're gonna start at the front. So I already had the suppressor on this, and I already had the wrap on here. And I already had the Raid, but it was back here. It was about 2 inches further back. The light bar moves the Raid forward quite a bit, which does 2 things. It opens up space on my rail for my hands, and it reduces the suppressor shadow inside the light. It wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't like I couldn't see what I was shooting at, but it definitely takes like a giant chunk of what you can see and throws a huge shadow across it. So the light bar was a great idea to solve both of those problems. Coming further back, we've got the rail covers. There's one on each side here, and then the hand stop. The rail covers, cool benefit that they had is they actually help with heat mitigation a little bit, and obviously they give you a bunch of traction, and there's cable management built in. And the hand stop is an index point for my support hand so that my thumb falls on my pressure pad so that if I need to activate it quickly, I can do so. As I mentioned, Magpul Light sling and the Sentry strap, also from the Neo Mag. I've been asked whether a sling on a homestead defense gun really makes sense. I don't have a solid answer. I can't say I use it when I run out the door to go shoot at coyotes, but I definitely use it on the range, and the Sentry strap keeps it perfectly out of the way. I can run this without even thinking about the strap. I can just grab it and go. Frankly, I don't see a reason not to have the sling on there, but if it becomes a deterrent, I would definitely do so. And I do have the sling ring. You can see right there, the sling ring is holding that sling in place, which is a nice nifty thing about the Neo Mag's rig system, is that you don't actually need like a QD up front. Side note, I definitely should have said that in the other video. Oh well. So let's talk about the magnifier. I actually already talked to you about the magnifier, but after that situation where I could not identify enough details at that coyote at 100 yards, I reached out to Holosun. I was like, hey guys, you already sent me a bunch of things for this build. They're running great, but here's the deal. I can't see enough at distance. And they're like, we got you, fam. They sent me this. Thank you guys so much. I sincerely do appreciate it. As I've said a number of times, I'm a huge fan of Holosun and the people that they employ here in the US who are doing a killer job of really growing a brand and putting out quality products. And you can bash them being made in China all you want. And there are some things that I definitely agree should be made in the States. Holosun's doing a good job, and I'm gonna give them a thumbs up for the quality and performance of all of the products on this pistol. So let's talk about some of my training, my shooting and training since I showed you guys this last. So I did a night shoot. I didn't shoot a lot of rounds. It was like literally 30 rounds or so. The idea was not, I'm gonna go mag dump at night. I actually set up 100 yards away from my white silhouette target across my pond. And I was like, I'm really curious. And this was before I had the magnifier, right? So it looked like that, no magnifier at all actually, but just using the AEMS Pro, I was like, I wonder if I was supported and I had like my tripod with the cradle. I was like, I wonder if I could hit my silhouette at 100 yards. Cause like a silhouette turned sideways would approximately be the size of a coyote, right? So it's like, can I actually just like hit anything, or am I like wasting effort here? As it turned out, I could hit stuff. I had 100% first hit. But the interesting thing I've learned that's changed my opinion about night shooting is that there's a ton of gas that comes out the front of the suppressor, which of course makes sense. Unless it's really windy, that gas just like hangs right around your face and totally obscures and clouds, your view through the optic. So I would have to wait 5 to 10 seconds between follow-up shots to actually clearly identify that silhouette again. So I was only like 60% on my second and third shot attempts at actually hitting the target. I would try to push it and be like, I think that's it. And I'd, pull a shot, and sometimes I'd hit it, sometimes I would not. What that taught me there is that first shot has to be absolutely 100% on with a coyote, because I'm definitely not getting a second one. I mean, unless just like stroke of dumb luck. If the first shot misses, odds are about -100, I'm going to get a second shot, unless the wind is just gusting and it immediately clears the gas out of the way, okay? So if you've never shot night shooting, I encourage you to do that, because you learn some things. I mean, you always do when you train, but I learned a really big thing there that I would have not thought about if I hadn't experienced it, and I'm glad I experienced it before it really mattered. And then I've done a number of different range days running the Neomag's rigs stuff, and I just wanted to get a feel for how it feels in my hands to have the rail covers on, the hand stop, and the light farther forward. I really do like it. Like I said, I can still hit my pressure pad right away, and the raid light has a backed up button in the rear of the light here, so in the event that the pressure pad has an issue, I can still activate the light via that button. All that worked really good in the training I did. I haven't done any more night shooting since the first one that I just told you guys about, but so far this whole setup is working well for all the daytime stuff I've done with it, with the rigs and the light being forward and where my pressure pad and my button are and all that. The most recent thing that I did, and why I really wanted to throw a bow on this video now that I'm over 500 rounds, was I added the magnifier, which just came in. And I had a bunch of steel plates at 25 yards on my plate rack, and then I had my silhouette at like more than 50, way back in the woods. Just a little like hole in like the brush that I could see it, but like, it was a little tight, right? I did that on purpose because I really wanted to know, like, if we're shooting at a coyote, it's probably not just gonna be standing out in a field, because I don't have any fields. All I've got is timber. So because I got timber, it might get tight. And so I was like, cool, we'll throw the silhouette back there. We'll see if we can hit it. I practiced, as you can see right here, a lot of work either like throwing the magnifier up, taking longer shots, or throwing it down and taking closer shots. Now I know I can hit the silhouette without the magnifier. The way that I really was trying to test myself was I would throw it up and I would try to get a quick headshot in. So I wasn't giving myself time to stabilize, and I wasn't giving myself, I didn't have a rest or anything. I was just like, all right, if I sling that up and I had to quickly pull off a headshot, can I do it? I was maybe like 50%. I could certainly hit the headshot if I was still and slow and taking my time, but as soon as you add some speed and a little bit of urgency, all of a sudden that kind of breaks down. So that's something that I can keep training, but the magnifier definitely helped make headshots a lot bigger reality. Again, for shooting coyotes in the dark, definitely an extremely helpful thing to have this magnifier. So at this point, you might be wondering what on earth caught fire here. That was the suppressor wrap from Burn Proof Gear, which as you can see is very burned. I think it's still going to work. The point of a suppressor wrap is really just heat mitigation. My tie-on suppressor underneath definitely got very hot. It actually discolored. They do that. No big deal. It's titanium. But yeah, the wrap caught on fire. Do with that what you will. I know like any type of material, like canvas type material, is probably going to catch fire if you get it hot enough. But with a name like Burn Proof Gear, you just kind of have some really high expectations of what that looks like. Anyway, that was a bit of fun. I did get it off, used my multi-tool, got it off, everything cooled down, everything seems fine. It's not actually a big deal, it just is kind of a funny little side story, but that was fun for a hot second there. And that was a good pun, wasn't that? You like that, I know. If you made it this far and you own a business or work for a business in the firearms, hunting, or outdoors industries, and you want honest reviews like this for your products, please click the link in my bio, read through how I handle reviews and evaluation, and then fill out that form. I'd love to talk to you about working together. At this point, I am super pleased with the way this VK-1 is set up and running. I have nothing negative to say at all. And the best positive thing I can say is it shoots flat, it shoots fast, and because it's piston driven, you basically have no ejection port pop when you're shooting, and there's no gas coming back at your face. So all the noise and the gas stays at the front of the pistol, which is very, very, very nice. I will say this tie-on suppressor is not even the lowest back pressure suppressor out there. There's other ones that are way more like flow through and they're louder, which is the trade-off, but everything, you know, the gas stays really out in front. So this suppressor on like a gas gun definitely puts more gas back in your face via the ejection port. VK-1, because it's piston driven, doesn't have that problem, which is great. This suppressor and this pistol work really well together. So if you are researching the VK-1, I wholeheartedly recommend this for you in whatever configuration you want to get it in. I really like the 11.5. To me, that's a great length for a pistol, but they do make shorter and they do make a 16-inch, so whatever you want, they pretty much are gonna have it. I hope it's been helpful for you to kind of see how I've expanded my accessories and how I've kind of tweaked some things to make it work really well for me. Again, since my use case is homestead defense, I have some pretty specific things that I want out of this, but that does not mean that's the only application of them. So if you would have a comment on what you would do differently here or what you like that I did or on any of the products that I have here, drop it below. I would love to hear your thoughts. The best thing about the VK-1 is definitely running it suppressed. I still to this day have never shot it without a suppressor because I just frankly don't need to because it runs so well suppressed, and frankly 11.5s are loud. All right, so you made it to the end of this video. Right after I get done blabbering, here is the video link for the rigs system so you can learn all the details about that. Please give that a watch next. Thanks so much.